Yara?
Yeah.
A young girl named Jay is having a nice time enjoying a swim in the pool. Her sister Kelly comes up and tells her that their friends are here, then offers to watch a movie together. Jay refuses, citing that she has a date tonight. The girl finishes swimming and approaches Paul and Yara watching the movie. Paul tries to give Jay signs of attention, but the girl only stares at him indifferently. A little later, Jay wears her best dress, puts on her makeup, and heads out on a date. Standing in line for tickets, Jay and her beau named Hugh play a game, the essence of which is that Hugh chooses a person from the crowd, and the one in whose place he would like to be, and Jay must guess this person. After a few wrong guesses, Jay gives up and Hugh points to a boy. He would like to be in his place because he has his whole life ahead of him, and at that age you can pee your pants and no one will say a word. Sitting in the auditorium of the cinema, Jay says it's her turn and guesses a person from the audience. Hugh points to a girl in a yellow dress standing near the entrance, but the girl sees no one here. Hugh gets scared of something and asks to get out of here. Jay agrees, and together they go to the cafe. After their date, they drive to an abandoned hospital building where they become intimate in the guy's car. Jay lies in the back seat as Hugh suddenly sneaks up on the girl and puts her to sleep with chloroform. The guy ties the girl to a wheelchair and tells her to listen carefully, because her life depends on it. Now the girl will be haunted by a creature. It is completely invisible to a normal person and can take any form. As soon as it catches up with the girl, it will kill her, after which it will start chasing Hugh. Someone passed this curse to Hugh, and he passed it to Jay, there in the car. The guy notices something and drives Jay to the edge of the building. Jay sees a naked girl walking slowly inside the building. The guy asks her to pass the curse on to somebody else by having sex with somebody, after which it will leave Jay alone and starts chasing the next person. Hugh approaches the creature, and after making sure its target is Jay and not him, takes the girl away. Hugh gets Jay to her house, tells her that it is slow and it's easy to run away, but impossible to fool, after which he drives away. A few days later, having recovered from the incident, Jay sits in class at the university. Looking out the window, she notices a woman walking slowly toward her. The old woman in a nightgown gets closer and closer to her. Jay panics and leaves the audience. The old woman approaches Jay down the hallway. Jay tries to talk to her, but the old woman only walks closer to her in a slow gait. Jay leaves the building in fear and goes to his sister's workplace to tell her what has happened. Seeing the girl's condition, Paul offers to stand sentry at their house at night, and Jay agrees. Despite the fact that her friends are in the house with her, there is no way Jay can sleep. She goes downstairs to Paul and they chat sweetly, remembering how they once found erotic magazines as children and read them on the lawn of the house. Just as suddenly, there is the sound of a window shattering in the kitchen. Paul goes to check what happened, but sees no one. Jay asks to call the police, and Paul goes to the second floor to get the phone. Girl goes to check the kitchen, and there she finds a sickly-looking woman walking slowly towards her. Jay runs to the second floor in a panic and locks herself in a room. Paul and Kelly knock on the door and ask her to open it. The girl lets them in and tells them that she saw it. Paul and Kelly try to calm Jay down, saying that no one is there. At this time, there is the sound of someone else banging on the door. Armed with a broom, Paul opens the door and finds a bewildered Yara there. From behind her back, it appears in the form of a tall man. Jay climbs through the window onto the roof and rides away on his bicycle. All this is noticed by a nearby guy named Greg. Jay runs away from the creature to a swing set, where her friends and sister catch up with her. Kelly hugs Jay and says she believes her and wants to get rid of the curse together. Their conversation is interrupted by a man walking towards them. A frightened Jay asks if the others see him, and Kelly replies that it's their neighbor, Greg. Guy asks what's going on, and Jay says she needs to find Hugh. Greg agrees to help them and goes to get his car. They all drive together to the house that Hugh told Jay about. They find that the building is abandoned and no one lives there. They begin to look around the house, and Paul discovers a photo of Hugh in his school uniform in a stack of magazines. Identifying the school by its logo, they head out to make inquiries. Jay and Greg learn that his real name is not Hugh, but Jeff Redmont. Together, they go to his house to find out more about this thing. Jeff says he already explained it to her. It's after Jay, but he can see it too. So once it kills Jay, it will come back for him, and so up the chain to who started it all. The guy says he's in danger now too, since Jay is around and once again asks him to pass the curse on to someone else, hoping it won't come back. Jeff tells the girl to go far away to buy time and decide whether she will pass it on to another person or not. The young people go to Greg's country house, deciding to live there for a while. Greg takes out a hidden gun and teaches Jay how to shoot so that she can fight back. A while later, the group is relaxing together on the beach, and Jay is slowly approached by Yara, while the real Yara is swimming in the sea. An invisible hand grabs Jay by the hair, and Paul, trying to help, smacks a chair into the supposed place where it is standing. The creature doesn't like this and pushes Paul away, allowing Jay to escape. The girl runs to the boat garage, pulls out a gun, and starts shooting at the creature. She hits, but the bullet only incapacitates it for a few seconds. Jay locks herself in the shed, but the creature breaks a hole in the door and crawls inside in the guise of a boy. Jay runs out the gate in a panic, gets in his car and tries to drive away. But she fails to control the car and gets into an accident. The girl wakes up in the hospital with a broken arm. Unable to cope with the constant mania of persecution, she decides to pass the curse to Greg by having sex with him. Greg doesn't really believe Jay about the curse, but still passes it on to another girl from the institute. 3 days later, Jay is sitting in his room and sees Greg walking towards his house. He goes to the door and, finding it closed, breaks the window and climbs in. Realizing that this is not the real Greg, she rushes to his aid. Once inside his house, she runs down the hallway to his room, where she sees Greg's mother knocking on his room. Jay yells for him not to open up, but the guy doesn't have time to react. The creature attacks Greg and kills him. Jay drives away from the creature far out of town and falls asleep on the hood of the car. When she wakes up in the morning, she notices a yacht floating in the sea and several men on it. Jay undresses and swims to them, with the intention of passing on the curse. A few days later, Paul speaks to Jay and asks her to pass the curse to him. The girl says she can't go for it because she doesn't want to lose him. Paul asks if she trusts him and proposes his plan. Taking all the electrical appliances that were in the house, they head to the town pool. With everything plugged in, Paul, Yara, and Kelly set up the appliances on the curb. Jay climbs into the pool and waits for it to arrive. A while later, the creature does come and looks at Jay. The girl panics and wants to get out of the pool, but Paul tells her to wait until it gets in the water. It starts throwing objects at Jay, trying to kill her. Realizing that his plan isn't working, Paul pulls out a gun and starts shooting at the creature. He misses and wounds Yara in the leg. Kelly pulls out a blanket and throws it over the creature for Paul to hit. He shoots the thing in the head and it falls into the pool. Jay tries to swim out of the pool, but it's still alive and grabs the girl's leg, but another bullet to the head makes it let go of Jay. Jay crawls to the edge of the pool to see if the creature is dead, and sees a lot of blood spreading across the water. That same evening, Jay and Paul become intimate. Paul, to reassure himself, goes to the women standing on the side of the road offering their services for a fee. A few weeks later, Paul and Jay, thinking it's all over, stroll down the path holding hands, completely oblivious to the slowly walking man behind them.